3:48. Gregor Strudwick, Connor Halley with you. I'm at Sports Leader TSN 1260 on a lovely September 29th. Hope you're having an awesome day. Let's get to the racing report brought to you by CanTorque, where, hey, guess what's fall cleanup time, baby, and Strutty's favorite time of the year, because you know what that means, Strutty. Your favorite tool. Okay.
Flange spreaders?
Yeah. Well, flange spreader. Yeah. You like the what is it? The nut crunchers? Is that what you call it, Struts?
Well, everyone's got their own nickname, right? Depends how big yours is. Mine's really big, so obviously I have my own nickname for my flange spreader.
Okay. Let's get to Colin Livingston, the race report. Livingston, how you doing? That was a great intro. How are you doing?
That's a great opening. I really appreciate that.
Well, it only took me 3 years to figure out what a flange spreader was. So
you can explain it to me. I'd love to know.
We don't have time. Colin.
Yeah, we have the perfect combination of torque, flange spreading, and nut crunching.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh, hey, if you don't have all three of that, like, really, what are you doing? Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, you got to have all three of them.
Nothing.
Now, interesting is we look at the, some people call it the silly season in F1. Obviously, the season's still going on, even though it's pretty much a foregone conclusion who's going to win. But there are still a few seats left available. The second seat at Williams, Haas, and Alpine. What do you think about Daniel Ricciardo? Like, does he go to any one of those? Is there anybody that you see as an obvious fit into one of those three seats?
Well, right now it seems like Danny Rick is going to be on the sidelines here. He's even talking this week that he might be in line for a reserve driver role. Who that'll be with, or if it actually materializes, that's a different story, which is kind of shocking because I think most people who know racing and can really size up driver talent will tell you that they don't come any better than Daniel Ricciardo. He's maybe he should have been the first driver that was on the list at Alpine, but when he left there a couple of years ago, when they were still known as Renault, I don't think that left on too good of a note, which is probably what took him out of contention for that seat that'll be vacated by Fernando Alonso at the end of the year. Williams, I think they're really trying to lock down Nick de Vries. So, he obviously had such a great initial showing. He's going to be a really hot commodity. And then, it sounds like Giovinazzi, who was in the series with Alfa Romeo a couple of years ago, sounds like he might be in line to join Haas, which is a Ferrari powered team, and he's got a lot of support from Ferrari. So it's still going to be pretty interesting as the season closes.
What has Nicholas Latifi done wrong, or to maybe be leaving Williams and maybe not back in F1 at all next year?
Well, I don't think he's done anything wrong. Latifi is definitely known within the series. Canadian driver, but at the same time, really known to be a pay driver, as in, they've brought a lot of money to the teams that they've raced with. And, his performance just hasn't been there. You can look back at a number of things that didn't necessarily line up to his favor. But again, when a kid like Nick de Vries can get into the car, basically cold, score points on opening, and Latifi's had a few years at the wheel without a lot of success. It just seems like Williams is saying, listen, we really appreciate the money, but we have to start focusing on development here. So yeah, I'm not too sure where he goes or what he'll do next year, but I think this is probably the end of Latifi's run in Formula One.
Yeah, and now you were saying, like, you don't even think he would get a seat in Indy after this? Like, where do you go if you're him?
Potentially could. I don't know that they'd want to, because Indy's not on the same scope as what Formula One is. If he legitimately wants to keep racing, and you've mentioned this many times, Gregor, is that Indy is a much higher competition level than any other form of open wheel racing right now. Like
Yes.
the level and the competition there is just unbelievable. So if he really wants to race, it would be the kind of money that they would spill in a few days would fund an IndyCar ride versus what they were bringing to the Formula One team. So, it would be a viable alternative. It'll really show where their mind is or where their intention is. If they are looking for racing, yeah, I mean, you could see him come back and race at home in front of, a lot of North American fans. But a lot of the time these guys jump over to Formula E because there is still pretty good money for drivers over there. I don't really care for the Formula E series. I don't like watching it. I don't have a lot to talk about when it comes to that. But if that's where he goes, then that's more of a money deal. Or maybe they just hang it up and decide to hang out on a beach. Who knows?
Joined by Colin Livingston, talking all things racing for the CanTorque Racing Report. Getting back at racing now, heading into Singapore. Why is this such a challenge physically for the teams and the drivers?
Well, there's a lot of really high speed corners. I mean, it's a street track, but high speed, so high G type corners, really hot and really humid. So you could watch, if you follow any of the driver social media profiles, you'll see that these guys are really taking training to the extreme, where they'll be getting on exercise bikes in steam saunas and bumping out sessions like that, just trying to get a little bit of tolerance to what they're going to go through on Sunday night in Singapore, Sunday morning for us. Yeah, just a really challenging. I mean, this is the one that they spend probably the most time trying to get acclimated to. They'll get to they'll get to Singapore. I mean, some of the guys were there 2 weeks ago, just to get to the climate and really try and get on time with the time zone change, which really sets up well for Japan next week as well.
Last week, the Pinty series, some crashes, and I guess kind of how's Tagliani? That was quite the crash.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay. I've talked to him quite a few times. Candidly, I was really scared after the incident towards the end of the race on Sunday night. As his spotter, I'm the first person to talk to him on the radio. I could really hear that he was winded. When I asked him if he's okay or if he needed help, he's like, he asked for medical attention. I misheard him over the radio. When I asked him what was wrong, I heard him say it was his ribs, but he actually said it was his wrist. But it's still like he was really winded, really sore for a couple of days. Kudos to our friend Andrew Ranger, former champion. He was involved in the incident too. I mean, nothing to do with Ranger. He was just riding along. There was a bunch of aggressiveness up front that a couple of cars made contact. One guy got loose, another guy got into the loose guy, just drove right through him. And then, another car made avoiding action, body slammed us into the wall. Really hard hit. It was one of those like 30-degree straight into the wall hits, which is one of the worst angles, like, much slower speed. And I'm not trying to make a real comparison, for the outcome, but, it was the same kind of impact that Dale Earnhardt went through at Daytona that, didn't look like an awful lot, but ended up costing him his life. Thank goodness we're at slower speeds. We have better safety equipment nowadays that, it's, you just walk away with a little bit of a sore neck, but, also disappointing that the guy that really, nailed us, never did check on Tag, never did, send him a note to say, hey, listen, I apologize, but, just want to make sure you're okay. Really disappointing, but also shows the real character of some of these guys that, Ranger, who again was just along for the ride, they had a good chat after the race. But a bunch of the others just, couldn't care less.
The winner was the Brandon Watson with his first winner in the Pinty series. Is this guy, was that a surprise for him, or was kind of just got it that he was kind of the outcome because of the chaos he got the win?
No, definitely no surprise. I mean, this is Watson's home track. He's raced there forever. He was definitely a favorite going in. Set a new track record, qualified on pole. Was towards the front for the entire night. So definitely not a surprise. I mean, good that he got a win in his rookie season. But I talked to a bunch of the drivers, a bunch of my buddy drivers at the end of the race. And, we have a pretty good group of spotters that, I don't remember seeing so many cars so heavily damaged still running at the end of the night. I mean, it was an absolute insane asylum on the track. And, I really hope that over the winter, we've got some management changes coming to the Pinty series. We've got, a new race director. We've got some new management. And I really hope that over the winter, there gets to be some focus on enforcing the rules and starting to actually penalize these repeat offenders, because, yes, every driver makes a mistake. Every driver has moments of aggression. Not saying that, even we haven't had that, but these chronic offenders, there needs to be some repercussion, because as long as you don't penalize it, you keep telling drivers that how they're driving is okay. And, I mean, if you watch the video, I'll post it here once we're done. But, pretty much 2/3 of the field was involved in the last accident, just based on the way it happened. And, these kinds of things, I don't think it's all that entertaining. I mean, our fans deserve much better than this. And, really hoping that some of the new blood that's coming into the series over the winter, makes an attempt to clean things up a little bit.
Colin, always good to talk racing with you, man. Have a great week, and we will chat next week on Thursday.
Sounds good. Look forward to it.
There you go. That's Colin Livingston in the Racing Report, brought to you by CanTorque. Strutter's favorite time of year, man. It's fall cleanup. They got everything you need. Flange spreaders and more at cantorque.com.